Hello, everybody, and welcome to the birthday live. Hi, Valerie from Cologne. Good afternoon, evening, even. Goodness. I was going to get all fancy and have makeup on and everything, but I actually don't feel very well. So I've been to the doctors today and I'm just like, oh, so I'm full of cold. So do excuse me, I haven't gone all made up, etc. But I am here, I am live, and hopefully everybody can see and hear me. I'm actually going to go on to my... Been to the doctors today and I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Excellent. Gee, I always do have to go on, just check to make sure everything's working. I am still here, still live, so that's good. Super. So today, because it's my birthday, I've got a special little thing on. I run a sketch club. It's a weekly email. It's wonderful. Well, I think it's wonderful. I am a little biased, but I've got a special birthday offer, so you get the first month free. I think it's only €5 a month as it is. It's like less than a coffee, a posh coffee anyway. So if you're interested in that, I will attempt, she says. Not quite sure. Oh, thank you. And hi for Stony Stratford. Yay. Hi, Hazel. Happy. Oh, thank you. Despite being a little bit ill, I am actually having a lovely day. Oh, hi, Vanessa. You can hear me. Oh, super. So this month we said, I said the sketch club. Let me pop that link in the chat because then I can crack on and I don't have to remember, because you guys know what I'm like. I'm useless. I'll never remember to do anything. I'm just quickly going onto my own website because, you know, I should have prepped this. Did I prep it? No, of course I didn't prep it. So let me pop this in the chat. And will it let me send something? Sign into chat. Oh, really? Please? It's my thing. Do I have to chat? Yes. No, I don't know whether I've done that right or not. Now it's all going all a bit wrong. Potentially shouldn't have done that. Okay. Oh, now I have to verify it's me. Of course it's me. You know, who else is it going to be on my own website, for heaven's sake? I love technology, it's great. Now I've put in the wrong password. I'll probably continue to put the wrong password in because I don't remember what on earth I'm doing. Okay, excellent, right, chat. Yes, it is me. Hello, please, thank you. Honestly, you'd think, wouldn't you? Right, oh yes, I have put it in, marvellous. Right, the code is simply birthday, because I'm a bear of simple brains and that's kind of reasonably easy to remember, isn't it? So now I've done that, I can shut up about that and we can crack on with what we're doing. So, excuse me. You suggested last month that you wanted to have a go in pastel pencils. So I have a selection here of, it looks like a huge amount of this, it's not that big. I just have Faber-Castell pastel pit pencils because these are the ones that I happen to have in the studio. And what I've picked is 3 reds, a dark red, a warm red, which is a cad red, and a kind of pinky red. I've done a couple of greens, a dark green and a light green. Ooh, don't drop that. 2 blues, a light blue and a dark blue. Some yellows. I've got a dark yellow, a light yellow, and an orange for my dark yellow, and a grey and a white. So you can't hear or see anything happening, Hazel. Oh, has everything gone a bit funny? Am I back on now? Let me whiz through to my so I'm full of come on, where am I live? You can't. Oh no, I can see me and hear me. So I think if you, Hazel, if you turn off, come out and come back in again, it might work. Potentially. I'm a techie, so turning things off and turning things back on again does actually usually work, weirdly. So I have a variety of pencils. All good. Oh, thank you, Vanessa. I have a variety of pastel pencils, and what I have is I cooked some cupcakes, and I made some icing, and I've got some strawberries and a candle. I wanted to pipe my icing and have it really smart, but then I don't actually have a piping bag, so it's just kind of like shoved on the top of the cupcake. But I have tasted one of these cupcakes, and they do actually taste quite nice, so quite pleased with my little self. So let me put on a image first. So, and I'm going to, hang on, let me turn my other camcorder on. There we go. And I will put in my little circle cam, then I can still talk to you. So I'm going to move my camera over here, because what you can see is in my little light box there, and I will turn off the spotlight so you can actually see, we have a little cake with a candle that's a little bit lopsided. I'm just going to light the candle, because you've got to have a lit candle for a birthday, haven't you? Oh gosh, matches everywhere. That's not a good sign. I have a wooden desk. Could go horribly wrong. Right, let me light this candle. It's one of these little birthday candles, so it may not last the full hour, but now we have a lit candle to play with. So let me turn the bright light back on it so I can see it. You can now no longer see it, but that's okay, because let me put my light on here so I can see my paper. Whoops. Here's an image I prepared earlier. That is my little, oh, you're here now. Brilliant. Thanks, Hazel. So I've taken a picture of it so you can see it. Now, I've got some pastel matte paper here, and I'm using a blue pastel matte paper. Does that look in focus to you? That's better. So I'm using a blue pastel matte paper simply because I want the light to shine up and I want some contrast. Oh, your grandiose Tim is 14 today. Oh, all the best people are born today. That's all I can say. I might be a tiny bit biased. Let me straighten my camera. Right, so this is a pastel matte in blue. And the reason I've done this is when I'm and I do this with my sketchbooks as well, I will tint paper, because if I've got a light subject and I want it to pop on the paper, it's really nice to have a dark background, because then you can use something. Let's move this up in the corner here. And that white really shows up much better on a dark paper than it would do if it was on a light paper. Now I'm going to draw this out using, this is a charcoal pencil, simply because I can rub the design out. And I'm just going to, as I usually do, I'm just going to start by doing some comparative measurement. So if you look, I'm looking like this. I've got one eye closed and I'm squinting. And what I've got is my hand out. You can't really see this because I've got my circle camera on. At a distance. So I've locked my elbow, because that way when you're doing comparative measurements, if you start doing this, then your measurement changes. But if you always do it with a locked arm, you get the same distance, so it works. So I'm kind of squinting, and I want to basically see, have I got a square? That candle's really not going to last an hour. Never mind. And the answer is, my cake is kind of squarish, and then I've got my candle on top. So I'm going to just mark on here, rough square shape. I don't want to make it too big, because we've only got an hour and we're doing pencils. And pencils, that candle's dripping. The one on the picture isn't dripping, but the one in live in front of me, I might have to actually blow it out, because the wax is dripping everywhere and my icing is melting. So I've just blown my candle out. I'll use the reference picture for the actual flame, I think. So I've done a quick square, because that's kind of the shape of my cake, and it kind of it's almost a diamondy shape. And with this slightly rounded bottom. Yeah, my icing is now dripping onto the never mind, it's fine. So I've got a kind of shape a bit like this. It's a kind of a bit of a hexagon, no, six-sided shape, whatever a six-sided shape is. Some of you are bound to know, because you guys are clever. And I'm just going to mark where that bottom of that candle is and where the bottom of my icing is. So if I do my comparative measurements again, my sort of paper case is about a third. That's handy. So if I do thirds, my paper case is kind of comes around here, and then it kind of goes up a bit. And then my candle is above the other third. And then I've got these lovely strawberries. Oh my God, these strawberries are so gorgeous. They're local strawberries, and I just couldn't resist putting them on my cake because that's a buttercream icing, which unlike the picture, the real one is quite cheerfully dripping everywhere. But that's fine because I shall eat it all up. So I'm just, like I say, sketching in roughly where my candle is. My candle is now quite a bit shorter because it's burnt rather rapidly. It's a very cheap candle, but that's fine. And then I've got my another strawberry coming out this end. And I've got this one strawberry that's in the front. Now, of course, because I am viewing this slightly differently to where you're seeing on your photo, mine is always going to look a little bit different because I'm seeing it at a different angle. You've got a steady photo. I haven't. I've got a very unsteady looking icing. I'm just going to do a little bit of an idea where I've got some leaves. So I've got rough shapes there. I don't need anything else. This is a sketch after all. It's not a finished painting. And this bit is grey, but we've got some lovely kind of I just want to get an idea of where those shapes are. And I've got a little pool of wax just here, and it looks like some strawberry juice. Really is going a little bit astray, this mine. And I've got some shadow coming over there. And then I'm going to look at the reference photo for a rough shape of that flame, because I've had to blow mine out because it was getting a little bit much. Now, normally when you've got flames, you can get a little bit of glow around it, and that's why I quite like pastel pencils, because we can do a little bit of blending. So I've got a rough shape here. Like I say, my candle is decisively shorter than yours, and there's a little bit of wriggly stuff, but that's fine. So now I'm going to block in the first layer of colours, and it is a layer, it's a layering effect. And I'm going to actually put in some yellow where that icing is. In fact, my strawberry is, let me move my strawberry over, because that red strawberry there, that one is much nearer that candle. There we go. And I'm going to do a rough, because this icing is kind of cream, I don't have a cream coloured pastel pencil, so I'm just going to do a rough shape of yellow. And the reason I'm doing that is because this dark paper is a dark blue, and blue is a cool colour, and our icing is definitely on the warmer side. So putting a yellow under there, you could use a violet if you had a violet. Do I have a violet? Oh, I do. Ooh, that's exciting. Not sharp though, it's very blunt. So I shall just pop that in my sharpener. Now, I know a lot of people often have questions about the best pencil sharpeners for pastel pencils and charcoal pencils and things like that. I've tried some very expensive ones. The one that I find works the best for me, pardon me, if you are in the UK, I don't know anywhere else you can get these, Tesco's do these little animal pencil sharpener things. I don't know what it is about these, and they were literally so cheap when I bought it. They're probably, like £500 now, but there was only 4 when I bought these. And they are brilliant. They're the best ones ever, and they last such a long time. So for the purple, I'm going to go over this side, but purple also makes white really stand out too. So I'm going to use purple for my shadows, and I've got some kind of shadow shapes. I'm squinting and putting in some shadow shapes with this purple over the top of the yellow. So what I really like about pastel pencils, or any medium really, you can really layer up. And this is a grey. I'm just going to go over some of this cake case, the shadowed area, just with a bit of grey, just so that I know where it is. In fact, I haven't got a black. I'm going to have to... I don't usually use black. I prefer to use blue than black. But I think just underneath here, we've got very deep shadow. And I'm going to go over it with a blue, but I really want to darken that. So I'm going to just put in a little bit of a black under there. Right. So I've got a rough, plain idea there. I'm just going to get some red, and I'm just going to put over where my strawberries are with a very brief red. And what I'm doing is I'm just mapping out where my colours are. So this is just the initial layers, and I'm ignoring the fact I've got green leaves on there. I will put those on over the top. So I'm just looking at where are my colour shapes and just adding those in. We'll go into detail and get some nice roundedness later on. And I've got a lovely pink candle. So where's my pinky? This is my pinky bit. So I'm just going to put some pink stripes on, just initially. And mine is all kind of all over here. It's a lot paler than this pink, but I think we'll put some white over the top, and that will kind of bring it out. So we've got a rough idea of where we want everything placed. Now, I don't have a full gambit of colours, which is sad because I want to put all the colours on this. So I'm going to get, this is a kind of a sort of a skin colour. I'm just going to put this on the other side of this cake case, just so that you can see where the highlights are compared to where the dark side is. So we're beginning to get a bit of rounding in. So I've got a basic map. So now I want to start increasing this. I'm going to put those leaves in actually. So I've got some leaves coming over here. I've got some leaf coming over here. I should probably have cut the leaves off, but I thought the leaves looked pretty and it was quite nice to have something green on. I will take them off before I eat them, obviously. Although you probably can eat the leaves of a strawberry plant. You can eat most plant leaves. I think what's the rule? If in 3, leave it be, I think is the rule, isn't it? So if things have 3 leaves, you tend to just leave those ones alone. So now I'm going in with my white over the top of this yellow and just starting to put in the lighter areas of my icing. And it's the same with, like I say, with everything. If you just layer gently, putting in light layers first. So if I was doing this with pastel, soft pastel, for example, I do quite a lot of work with soft pastel. I would be using very light layers and slowly building up. Pastel mat is great because it allows you to put some really nice layers on, which is fabulous. But you do have to be quite restrained and putting lightly putting layers on and then darkening it up, rather than, because there is a sort of a tendency to go, get carried away and put all the things on really, really darkly initially. But that fills the paper up and you can't then get any extra layers on. So it's quite good to put it on lightly at first, because we can always darken it up. I'm going to put those stripes on that little candle there a moment. I'm going to ignore the flame until last, I think. I'm going to put a bit of shadow in. So we've got a little bit of shadow under here. I'm going to go over that black with some blue, because then I think black just looks too harsh. But I'm going to put this, oh, that's actually turning out quite light, isn't it? I wanted that to be the shadow. It's lighter than the paper. It's not quite worked how I wanted it, but that's fine. I'm going to go all the way up to the top of this area. And then in order to darken it, I will do a quick gentle covering of black over the top. And we might have a play with some blending and see how blending works with this. I do have blending, oh God, I can't even think of the word. It's my age, you know. Now that I'm a whole year older today, obviously makes a huge amount of difference. Whatever these are called. Blending stumps, that's it. I'm just going to blend over. I quite like using kitchen towel as well. I blend a lot using kitchen towel, but these are quite good. I just want to take those lines that I've managed to create with that black away and just soften it slightly. And because I did that initial drawing out with white charcoal, that's actually erases quite easily, which is nice. So I've got a little bit of a shadow coming in. I may want to darken that up a little bit, so I might go back in with the black, just gently, just going in a different direction, basically cross-hatching. And then again with that darker blue over the top of the black. So I'm slowly building these layers and mixing these layers in, just to create that a little bit of depth to my painting. And I will just reach over, nothing to hand, situation normal, for my favourite blending tool, which is of course my kitchen towel. I'm just going to soften all over that. Oh, that's better. Pastel pencils don't soften as easily as the as soft pastels do, simply because you're putting less pigment down at the same time. Right, so now I've got a rough idea of what my little cake is going to look like. I'm now going to get some details in. So I love these strawberries, and I'm going to, I think, start at the back and work this way. Part of that reason is I'm left-handed. So I'm going to just take an eraser and just take out that charcoal that I put on, because we've kind of done with the charcoal outline now. So I just want to just remove some of that a little. Let's tidy that up a bit. But now that I've got, yes, because I'm left-handed, I find working from this corner down is better for me, because I don't smudge as much. Whereas if you're right-handed, it would probably be better to approach it that way. But obviously it's a preference. So I'm just darkening up some of this red. Now we've got those lovely pips in there as well. And I want to get some of those. I've got a lighter green, and that leaf in the background is definitely lighter. So it's the thing with pencils, pastel pencils, is they're much more precise than sort of the normal sketchy stuff I do. Is very sketchy. And these kind of make you want to be really precise, which probably isn't actually a good thing, because we're wanting, with the whole thing with sketching, is you tend to be more speedy, and this is definitely a slower approach. But that in itself, actually, I don't know, that's actually quite nice, because you kind of slow down and chill out with it a little bit. I'm going to put some little yellow spots on my strawberry, because we've got those lovely seeds. And I'm going to just lighten that edge of this strawberry and just make it a little bit lighter. So what I've got is a variety of pencils here, just to blend them in, and that now looks a little bit more solid. In fact, I might use a little bit of the purple for shading on these strawberries. Because when most things, when you're shading, what you really want to do is look for the cool colours versus the warm colours. Warm colours will come towards you. Cool colours will kind of step away. So if you're wanting to darken a shadow, rather than put black in, which basically desaturates your colour, you want to add something that pushes it back. So something like a blue instead of a black is great for adding depth to your colour, because it doesn't take away from the saturation of that colour, which is another reason why we've got this dark background. That works really nicely. And conversely, if you want something to really stand out as being closer and brighter, white again acts the same way as black does. It desaturates the colour. But if you added something like a bright yellow, that then really brings out a highlight that looks more natural. I'm just going to soften that a little bit and blend it. So nearer the top of this goodness me, strawberry, there are these lovely little pips, and we've got some little highlights around. And I'm using my yellow just to bring those highlights in. And I'm going to put some more red on there. So we've got, it's really kind of building up, slowly adding these colours in and pushing the extra pigment to really kind of make that strawberry really stand out and be really juicy. We've got a lovely bit of shadow there, so I'm going to go in with that, like go in with the blue in this shadow, because it's quite dark in here just before we get that icing on. So I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow there. And we've got these leaves at the top, and these leaves are darker than the leaves on the strawberry behind it. So I'm just going to put in a bit of leaf. How are you all getting on, by the way? Do write in the chat if you have any questions. I'm sorry if I'm a bit snotty. I will endeavour to answer them the best I can. The same with green, by the way. If you want to darken green, blue to darken, yellow to lighten is really useful. Now we do have a little bit of highlighted white around. So I'm just going to add a little bit, just where we've got the light bouncing off some of the areas of this strawberry. It's just around these little pips. We can just see a little bit of light. I'll just pop that in. And that's now becoming nice and deep and really juicy. I'm just going to now add my white. This icing is actually cream, not white. Unfortunately, I don't have a cream, which is a bit sad. So, but I do have a yellow and I do have a white. So I'm just kind of using those together to give a creamy look. And again, apologies for all the sniffing and the cold. That is really dark on that side. That I'm going to just darken my strawberry just a little on this side, because it's kind of curving around and we've got a little bit of a shadow here, so this bit is a bit darker, but it's still red. So I'm going to put a little bit of a pinky red on here. So this is a sort of like a violety red, so it's got a lot of blue in this red, and that will turn the strawberry as well around. So warm reds like a cadmium red will look like it's highlighted and coming towards you, and a darker red with a little bit of like an alizarin crimson, that's going to push away. I can put these little yellow dots coming back in, and then I'm going to go back in with my icing. Some little bits of icing around the corner here. You can just see little bits peeking out just there. And it's all sort of a bit higgledy-piggledy. This is what I love about nature. Nothing, although this isn't nature, this is kind of icing, but nothing is, there are no straight lines. Everything's all kind of, you just got to squint and see where your shadows are. And I'm kind of using the paper a bit here to create those shadows. So it's not there are definite areas, oh gosh, pardon me, areas in shadow, and I'm letting the paper come through a bit on that and letting it do the work for me, because, you know, make life easy for yourself. Don't make things more complicated. Life's complicated enough as it is. And we've got these little bits that go around a little bit on this cake here, just where we're following the fluted pattern of the cake case, which was a random cake case left over from Christmas. I think I got it from IKEA. Right, so I'm now going to add a little bit of pink to this icing here, because we've got the strawberry juice has just kind of pooled around it. In fact, there's a strawberry juice pool just here. I'm going to have to eat these cakes quite quickly, I think. Oh dear, what a shame. There's a little bit of strawberry pool juice here too. I'm just going to add this really bright bit on this strawberry. And also on here we've got a lovely bit of brightness on this juice, from this strawberry juice that's just hitting the bottom of the cake area. Again, just glazing over with my pencil a little bit of red, just where that juice is dripping onto the icing, and that's giving a nice look to it. I really want this to be a brighter red. I'm not quite sure how with my pencil selection I can make this any brighter. I'll put that a little bit darker because that's where the shadow is. I can see me having to upgrade my pencil collection at this rate. My pastel pencil collection. And I'm just adding a little bit of blue just for this shadow. So remember, shadows are a bit bluey. And then I'm going to work on this strawberry here. I'm just going to add a little bit of a leaf over there. It's quite a bright leaf, this leaf, so I'm going to add a bit of light to it, and then come in with my warm red and just glaze over the whole lot with my warm red initially, just to get that shape. Adding in that extra colour. Now we've got a bit of, looking at my strawberry, it's darker here. So I'm going to go in with my, oh, I do my purple. I'm going to go in with my purple, I think. And glaze over with purple. Just to bring a bit of shadow in. And it's the same as with paint. You're looking at where your colour mixes are. Just because it's a pencil doesn't mean to say that you have to use the exact colour the whole time. You can absolutely mix these colours on your paper through blending and give that really good three-dimensional effect. I'm going to go back in with a sort of alizarin crimson. This is the cool red, the more like a darker, cooler red. This turns our strawberry round and makes it more three-dimensional. We're quite dark on that side. We've got quite a light bit on the top. So for that light bit, I'm going to pop in with a bit of yellow and glaze over with a bit of yellow just to really lighten the top of this strawberry. And squinting to see where my lights and darks are. And I'm actually going to Just check to make sure I get the clean end of my blender. I'm just going to blend some of this icing. Not too much, but I just want to just soften some of it down, just a little. And then I'm going to just take some over the edge and use some of that colour just to help with my case. And it's beginning to get a little bit nicer now. We've got some little pips, and I'm going to do the pips in a dark green, I think. Just, no, it's not really showing up. I think blue would be better, maybe. Yes, that shows up better. They're kind of coming down in this spiral, and then they have a highlighted bit. So they've got a bit of shadow to them, and then they've got a bit of highlighted area. And I'm going to use the yellow for the highlighting. And if you put the yellow next to the dark, it gives that illusion of three-dimensionality, which makes it look a little bit more realistic. I'm going to do that on this one as well. There we go. And put a bit of dark on this one as well. Do let me know if you have any questions about either technique or anything else that comes up while we're chatting away, because you know me, I will simply gas forever. I'm going to add a little bit of white just around where we've got a little bit of highlight on this strawberry as well, just around this one area, and there's a little bit of highlight there. And on some of these there's a little bit just where it's hitting the light, not much, just a little bit. And then there's some extra highlights on this icing. Now, because we've got this cream glaze, we can put a bit of white on, and that gives us a little bit of a highlight. I'm just going to add that extra bit in there as well. And I'll deal with the candle in a minute. Now, I'm glazing the white on over this bit of the icing, but this is actually in shadow. So I'm doing this quite lightly so we can still see the icing underneath. And I'm just going to put a light grey wash over it. So when I say a light grey wash, what I mean is with your pastel pencil, just very lightly, almost glaze, really practically no pressure. And that will give a really nice glaze of colour over the top. And it's going to make this just look a little bit in shadow. In fact, I might add a little bit here because we've got this shadow that comes around here. There's a little bit of shadow in the bottom here, and we've got this little nubule of icing. So just putting a little bit of shadow in round there as well, and a little bit of a shadow up here. And of course there's a shadow where the candle hits, so that icing there is darker. So now we've got a little bit more realism happening. It's feeling a bit more umptious. Now I'm going to add a little bit of, oh, I don't have a brown, that's annoying. I'm going to put a bit of black over my green leaf here because I've got quite a dark leaf on this bit, but I don't have a brown. I would have used a brown, but I don't have one. So I'm putting a little bit of black over, but because I've got my green there, it's mixing in with the green so it doesn't look black. Please excuse me because I'm going to have to just quickly blow my nose a moment. Right, back with you. The joys of having a cold, honestly. On your birthday as well. Shocking. So I'm going to now do my final strawberry at the back. And this strawberry is considerably lighter than the other strawberries. And it comes right down, overlapping this strawberry. So I might end up putting a little bit of more on there. I'm just going to glaze over with this lighter red. And because it's quite, this is hitting the light, I've got an orange here, and I'm just going to put an orange over the top end of this strawberry because it is catching the light. It's got a lot more light on there, and I want it to just feel lighter than the others. In fact, I may add a bit more red on this one. And now this one doesn't feel quite as red as it should do, so I'll add in a little bit of, this one's such a gorgeous kind of really pillar box red, and I don't have the appropriate red, which is quite sad. It's close enough, but I want a really deep, rich red, and I simply don't have one. So I'm now getting my more alizarin crimson-y colour. Is that, no, that isn't, that's, yes it is, good. And just putting that down at the bottom. Again, looking at light and dark, wanting my strawberries to turn over so they look three-dimensional. I really do feel I need something a lot brighter than my strawberries. I feel the red here isn't red enough, but I can only do with what I've got. So there's that. And then with my, a little bit of dark green, I'm going to just put some of these little dots in. And I'm actually maybe darkening up a little bit with that. And then with my yellow, just lightening some of these little nobules, little seeds on the edge of my strawberry. And they are in an actual pattern, which you could do, but I mean, this is a sketch, like I say, this isn't a finished painting per se. Even though I am putting quite a lot of detail in this, far more than I had anticipated, to be fair. I was going to do just a quick sketch, and I appear to be getting a little bit carried away. I don't often use pencils, you see. I'm normally a paint person, so I don't usually do a huge amount of detail on my sketches, and I feel that, like I say, pencils kind of do that. They make you go into more detail. So in some ways, not using pencils and using a much like pastels or pens and things like that is a nicer way to sketch, because it forces you not to do the details. So I'm just fiddling with some of the light on these, and I might put a little bit of yellow in those leaves. Just the lighter ones, just to catch the light a little bit. So now I've got my strawberries, and I haven't really done anything with this case particularly. I've just kind of left it. And what I am going to do is I'm going to take some dark blue and and try and put some shadows in. So we've got this sort of the same with if you're using when you're painting and you've got a limited colour palette, using the same colours in several places within your colour palette kind of harmonises your paintings, and so it's quite a useful thing to do. So using the same blue in the case as we're using in the strawberries, as we're using for the shadows, that kind of pulls everything together. And I've got, where's that skin tony pencil gone? Ah, here we are. This is quite nice for those lights. So again, it's the same colour. I'm now just applying an extra bit of pressure just to pick out some, like I said, I don't want too many details. I'm just looking at, just getting an idea of the fact that this is a paper case, that it's kind of stripy, kind of goes down there like that. We know where the light is hitting. We don't really need to know much else. It's just I just want to get a reading of where it sits. I need to rub all that lot out because that's all that charcoal. I'll take that out a bit. So now we've got a really nice looking cake, and it's kind of really popping against this darker background. So I'm now going to work on this candle a bit more. I'm going to start using my blender, and I'm just going to blend the white and pink together a bit initially, just to soften it a little. And I'm going to go around so the pink is darker at this end because my light is coming from this direction. Always know where your light is coming from, because then it really helps to get a three-dimensional feel. Like I say, sorry for my coughing, etc. I am fine. Like I say, I have been to the doctors today. I am okay. It appears that I have a bit of an allergy. We're not quite sure to what. Hopefully not art supplies. That would be tragic, wouldn't it? Could you imagine? Gosh, I wouldn't survive. I'm just putting the drips that my candle's got coming down the edge. And then I'm going to lighten up with my white over the top. So this creates this lovely pink. And I'm just doing the white on the one side. So mixing with the pink where we've got these drips. But also on the stripes, I'm just looking at doing the white on one side of the stripe, because again, that makes it turn more. Better keep an eye on the time. Again, if you have questions, do let me know. We've got another 10 minutes. I haven't got to the flame yet. So if you've got anything you're burning that you want to ask, do ask me. Obviously, if you become a member of the Sketching Club, then just email me. It'd be great. And I've got nice... So there's now a little bit of a turn happening. Now, I'm going to have to look at the picture now, because my flame I've had to blow out because it's quite cheerfully melted all over my cake. So I've got a little bit of pink and I've got a little bit of white coming up. Now you'll notice in candles and flames, they're kind of a bit darker at the bottom than they are further up. There's quite a lot of yellow and sort of an orange involved. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a darker colour at the bottom. And I'm glad we've got blue, because we often get blue in flames as well. And then we've got this lovely soft yellowy white. So I'm just doing yellow initially. And you'll notice that the flame is sort of curved at the top. It's just about looking and noticing. But the great thing about flames is that they're soft. They're soft at the edges. So when you blend, just blend around so it brings it over. And you get almost like this halo-y effect, which is really nice, because then we can go back in and just highlight a little bit of that flame, especially in the centre. It kind of burns a bit brighter there. And I'm going to put a little bit of white in there, but not much, because, you know, it's blending on the paper. So we've got this really nice soft flame. Oh, pardon me. You've done really well listening to me croaking along for the last hour, I have to say. I'm just going to blend that and soften that out a bit more. And then I'm going to go in with my white in the centre, which doesn't, of course, look white because we've got all the yellow and oranginess going on. I'm going back in with my orangey sort of burnt colour. Again, it's all to do with layering, always layering. I notice that that is just a little bit darker up the top. Adding a little bit of pink at the bottom of that flame there. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow at the top. And the really nice thing, I'm going to just reflect that flame colour a little bit in the icing, because again that just brings everything together just a little bit. Of course, I could now start really faffing, and I don't want to, because we'll be here all day if I do that. So we've started now. Like I say, I can play with this, and you can absolutely really go to town with how much you want to play and detail, and there's so much detail you can put in if you want to. My juice stain is now creeping across my table. I'm going to put in a little bit of light blue at the front actually. I've not done any light blue, but I do have a light blue pencil. And I'm thinking just to put a little bit of light, just glaze a light across here. Just to ground my cupcake a little. And give that shadow a little bit more oomph. And I might want to put a little bit more dark just in here. Oh, that's not quite as dark as I want, is it? I might put a little bit of, just a little touch, not too much, because I don't want to put too much black in there. But I just want to maybe just pick out a few really dark shadows. And there we have a little, pretty much, that's kind of okay actually. Like I say, I don't often use pastel pencils, but this has been quite nice. I've got some extra yellow, and let's pop a little bit more frosting around this side. I can see a bit of frosting just on the other side of this strawberry. So now I'm just looking to see, are there any little details that I want to pick out, some little highlights maybe. So there's a little bit of highlight on here, there's a little bit of, you know, extra sparkle. There's this lovely sparkle on here where we've got that light reflected. I'm just going to add that in, just a touch. And on this strawberry here, I've got a little bit lighter here. You can play and really sort of make that really your own, but just that little softness around the flame, and then look at, it's with everything, isn't it? Look at where your lights and your darks are, and really have a think about how things turn around. So this element here, it's just kind of grays a little bit. I want to put a little bit more dark. I will shut up and stop in a second, I promise. Oh, thank you, Vanessa. It's been a really nice, you know, I love sketching. So this for me is a really lovely way to spend my birthday, even though I feel better than I sound. I sound awful. So I do apologise for that. And like I said, I have been to the doctor, so we're all good. We're all good. It's just one of those things, and it's typical that it's on my birthday, really, isn't it? Right, I will stop faffing. I will put myself back on the thing. Screen. So let me turn off my image, turn off my camera, turn off that so that it goes out the way. So I hope you enjoyed that little birthday sketch along using pastel pencils. I didn't use all of these, but I used a fair amount. But you can get some lovely effects with very little, actually, very little time and very little materials. The key, I think, is choosing your background. So pastel mat is great. If you don't have a coloured pastel mat will take like a gouache wash or an acrylic ink wash or something like that, so you can change the colour. So do that. Oh, thank you, Valerie. Yeah, I hope I get better soon too. I've had this for a long time now, so you know I'm bored of it. So I hope you have a wonderful time and have a play with colours. You can watch this. This is on my YouTube channel, so watch it away. In the sketching club, I think on month 3, I think I give you a colour workshop on a little worksheet on how to do warm and cool colours and things like that. So there are lots of little things included. So if you want to join, use the code birthday, but it's only valid for today and tomorrow, and then it goes, because it's my birthday, and so you have to do it on my birthday. Thank you very much. Have a lovely rest of your birthday. I hope you feel better. Oh, thank you, Hazel. Yes, I'm going to go and finish my gin and tonic now and eat my birthday cake, which is with a lot shorter candle. Right, have fun. I'm going to disappear off. Enjoy, and I will see you again soon. Next month, we'll do something different. Not sure what yet, but I will let you know. Okay, bye.